window looks right on. I missed it now.
All right. Nah, I'm sorry.
Would you like a Kari al Hashem?
That'd be great. Sure. Just calling in Judah? Huh? Micah?
Good piece. Something or other. Mama came yesterday.
All right, we have the
Mama's dog.
Get out of here.
Mama's dog probably.
Dude, if you turn around, you're going to see me.
Okay, and ready.
all right, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Today is Daf Lamed Vav. Those of you who have the art scroll, it's the second volume.
I got it.
It would be better today.
Oh, shoot, I forgot.
Now we have a couple bubble commas here, at least we good.
I know by heart.
All right, so we got to the two dots at the top of Lamed Vav Amud Aleph.
Okay.
So Hayu Shneim Shel Echad Shel Ish Echad Shneim Chayam. So the second line from the top. So it says over there, they're both animals. We're talking about a case of one of the cases in the Mishnah was there were two animals that went ahead and gored another animal, and so the two goring animals, one was big, one was small, and they were so in this case. So the Mishnah says Shnehem Chayavim, both of them are chayav. What does that mean? Right, both animals are chayav, right? They're owned by the same person, right? Summerlay, mi parzika Ravashi. So Shmami no shorin tomim sheziku rotza mizeh gove rotza mizeh gove. And it was like this. He wasn't sure which one was the actual goring animal, right? So Lamaisa, if it was animal A, I could only collect from animal A from the migufo, right? From if it was a tam, from Chatzi Nezek, from that animal. But if I don't know if it's from A, I can't collect from B. Over here, he wasn't certain as to the status. Right. Nevertheless, it sounds like both of them are chayiv, meaning what? Meaning the nizak, the one who's damaged, can collect from either one. Both of them are obligated, right? So what was
the case that we're discussing here?
Two animals went ahead and were chasing an animal, and the animal was found to be gored.
What? Just one?
One animal.
One
yes, the ratio.
Okay.
Right? So shnehem chayavim, even though they're owned by one person. Both of them, what do you mean both of them? It means each one is basically, so in other words, each animal can be collected from. That's what he's saying. As far
as Tom, they both become the one straight against them. Tom closer to a wood.
I'm sorry?
We don't know which one actually did it.
Right. So that's what the Gemara is saying. So are we learning from here that you can collect from either one? Because normally if A does the damage, you can't collect from B. And so neither one's a move. Right now they're both Tom. Let's say it's the first time.
They're both Tom.
We don't know which is, and maybe one is 0 and 1.
Right, but we still don't know which one. So it's for sure Tom.
Which one becomes number 1?
No. Now you have to bring proof, right? And it was later on, right? Yeah. So the says you want to look here, they can collect from either one, but we know normally you can't. So the animals are muad, so therefore it doesn't make a difference between one. So the Gemara says, if we're talking about both animals and B, they were chasing the animals are both muad, they've all done it already 3 times. Aim a seifa. Let's look at the seifa. Haya echad gadol ve'echad katan. Hanizak leimir gadol heizik. Right, so one of them was big, one was small. So the Nizak says one of them was it was the larger one who did it. No, it was the smaller one. You can only collect from the smaller one. So how much right? So you have to bring the permanent proof. So the Gemara says, "Ibn Muad." And if we're talking about a Muad, might not blame Who cares which animal did it? Right? You have to be a full nezek in the case of Muad. Sof, right? The main Torah he has to go ahead and pay him for the full price. So who cares which one? You have to come out of pocket. So which one is the smaller, bigger one? Samalei Seifa. So he says no, Seifa b'tamin. So yes, this case indeed must be in the case of the top. Right? We're about to switch. Right? However, Reisha, in the case of the Reisha was Muad, and that was the case of the Muad. We can go ahead and collect from either one. So Samalei Ravacha Savla Ravashi. So even Muad and Chayavin. Why does it say Chayavin? Right? They right. The individual, right, is chayiv. Right? Should have said chayiv. So furthermore, my shnei. What do you mean both of them? Right? Animals don't pay. It's the person. Eliyalim the Tam. Really, we're talking about a case of Tam. And the Rabbi Kiva and it's called Rabbi Kiva. Damar Shutfininu, right? And it says they're partners, right? The Tam these are value, right? And the only reason is, and as he's shooting it because they're both in front of him. Delay matzi matchile, because he can't go ahead and push them off. Now, since both animals A and B are there, right? If it was just animal A, then the owner, the mazi, can say, "Oh no, it was animal B." Right, so he can deflect, but over here he can't deflect because they're both in front of him. And according to Rabbi Kiva, they are shooting the nizak and the mazik are now shooting in the damaging animal. No, I have a lesson of the tavayu matzi. I see raya the high Torah. Go ahead and bring proof. But since both of them are there, and it's a case of Tam, therefore, since he's shooting the sinner, therefore he can go ahead and collect from either one. So hajalach. Here. No rule. You can only sing if you're here for the majority of that. All right. Ashkayach Malstav and finishing the I think the third parak. Now we start the fourth parak. So sure, Shinagach, everyone has a Gemara here because the art scroll doesn't have this Baba Kama here.
Oh, sorry.
I need more.
Here's one.
Daddy, I want more. More. We share. I can share more.
Bye. All right, now new parak. So shor Shinagach arba v'chamisha shor. You have one animal that went ahead and gored. We're talking about a case of an animal. It was a tam, and now remember you have to go ahead and gore and bring it to Beis Din, and then warn the person. So if an animal goes ahead and gores multiple animals all in a row, you can still have 10 animals being gored by the same animal to be a tam, right? Because it all happened, sort of simultaneously before the opportunity to bring the owner to Beis Din. Now, shor shenagach arba v'chamisha. Right. Sure. One after the other. Yishalom the achron shebehem. Now, there's one animal that caused the damage. So that animal, right? So you have to go ahead and basically, sell the animal, and you over there you pay chatzi nezek from that animal. So you say right? You pay the last one. All right. Now the last one was gored, right? So let's say there were 5 animals that were gored. Right, so let's say there's 5 animals total. There's 4 that was gored, so you pay number 4, and if there is enough to go ahead and pay, in other words, let's say that there's enough from the animal, right, to go ahead and pay for the next one, then you pay for the next one, right, and so on and so forth. So, but first you pay the last. And if there's that left over, then you go to the owner to animal number 3. And say, okay, how much was your damage? Your animal was worth $120. Therefore, you $60. Here's $60. Pay for the animal. You go about
selling the animal. Is that the assumption?
Well, no, that's how you get the money. That's how you have to pay, right? In other words, you pay from the animals, and you pay from the animal, right? Right. Ultimately, you pay from there, but you pay half the damages. So and therefore you keep going on the back. And therefore, so the last one gets paid first. TV Rabbi Meir. This is the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Shimon says similar, right? Last guy is okay, but it's different. Rabbi Shimon Meir, shor shavim masai, shenagach l'shor shavim masai. All right, so let's say they both worth 200. And then the nevela is worth nothing. So therefore, once the animal was worth 200 and it was killed, now it's worth 0. So how much is Chatzi Nezek? 100. You owe the guy 100. Right? We'll call him Ruven. So okay, very simple, right? I owe you 200. I owe you 100. You take half of the animal, which is worth 100, and I'll take half the animal. Then it goes ahead. Then it goes ahead and gores another animal, and the other animals was worth 200. Now remember. It went ahead and gored the animal of Shimon, right? Reuven owes half, and Bob, who owns the animal, owns half, right? Reuven owns half because his animal was killed by Bob's animal. So now Bob and Reuven are partners in this animal, and their animal goes ahead and gores Shimon's, right? So Shimon goes ahead and takes 100, right? Because that was damage. Now, therefore, the other 100 is split up between, so 50 and 50 between Bob and Reuben. Then he went and gored another animal. Once again, that was also worth 200, right? So ha'achra noitel mana. So the last guy goes ahead and says, "Hey, Levi says he killed my animal. Chatinezek, give me 100." So he gets 100, right? So that was 100 left. Ushalafana. Now Shimon, right? Shimon, who just had 100, right? His shares are now basically diluted in half. So he had 100 before. Now he only has 50. And then the original owner, Bob and Ruvain, dinar zav. Each of them get a dinar zav, which is 25 zuz. So therefore, it comes out to 100, 50, then 25 between the last two. So that's how, according to Rabbi Shimon says. Rabbi Meir would have just said, the last guy gets 100, and if there's money left, then you give the second guy. So in this case, it's worth 200. So Levi would have got his 100, and Shimon would have got his 100, and Levi and Reuven and Bob would have been left with 0. Fine, that was the mission.
The two animals were goring animals.
Why does the order?
For the first time, huh? Why?
No, the first.
Why do you mean the order? Why? Because it wasn't done simultaneously. Well, let's see the Gemara.
Yeah, so why did the last guy go first?
Let's see the Gemara. So Masnisin.
It was a town. They were town.
Yes, the town. So beginning of the Gemara, the Masnisin money. Whose opinion is the Mishnah? Deloitte Rabbi Yishmael is not like Rabbi Yishmael. Deloitte Rabbi, not like Rabbi Kiva. Ek Rabbi Yishmael. Who's Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Kiva? Let's see. Ek Rabbi Yishmael. We saw this earlier. Damar Bali Chai Vasinu. Now, when a person his animal gets gored and killed, so how do we look at him? Now, is he just a creditor? So let's say John's animal kills mine. Okay. So now, am I a creditor to, am I one of your creditors? Now you owe me $100. Or, right, the Rabbi Kiva is going to say, basically, me and you are partners in your goring animal. And therefore, because that's the chazanah. So he said like this. So Ik Rabbi Shmuel Damar Bali Chayvasnin who say hi Achron Niskar Rishon Niskar. So how does it work in a case of when you have a creditor? Which creditor goes first? The first or the last, right? If I lend money, right? Who the first guy? So why do you say the last guy gets first? If I owe somebody first, if I owe you money on January 1st, and then I owe you money on February 1st, right? If I get paid in March, who do I have to pay first? I got to pay the first creditor. So it's the opposite. So why am I paying the last? Why is the last one? The first guy should go in order. So it can't be, huh? So that was sort of it. He was I want to understand. Over here, it's a cautious. How do you say the last? If we're talking about creditors, it should be the first. And Rabbi Kiva, if Rabbi Kiva damar tara the shoot for you, and if it's a Rabbi Kiva that says, okay, we're all partners in it. He said, ha yesh b'meiser. What does it mean? If there's enough, then yachzer mishulafanav, right? L'kulam miboyle, right? It should go to all of them. In other words, if we're all partners in it, right? Well, like this, if we're all partners in the animal, then so we keep on becoming all partners until the last animal. The last animal, 3 of us owned it together and it gored the other guy's animal because we were partners in it, right? Once your animal gores mine, until you pay me, I have a lien on your animal to the point that we're partners in your animal. So if it happens 3 times, all 3 of us are partners. And then if Eddie's was the last one, we should pay Eddie his $100. And then me, Alan, and John will each own it 33, right?
So should be partner then.
So the Gemara says, Amar Rabba, so says Rabba. So Amar Rabba, Liyolam, Rabbi Shmuel. Really, it's like Rabbi Shmuel that we said they're creditors. And Amar Bali Chayvas Nino. It says really they're the guy's a creditor. The question you ask, and Iskar, Rishon, Iskar. What does it mean? The last one, he is the full benefit. It should be the first guy. So the verse is like this. What happened in this case? What happened in this case was, okay, so let's say my animal gores John's animal. Okay? My animal gores John's animal. So until I pay John, he is now partner, right? So I owe him money. So he's worried about me paying him. So he takes my animal. All right. Now he's taking the animal basically as a shomer sacher. Right. In other words, he is basically.
I can do that without based in. I can just take it.
Yeah, because that's we had the case. That's we had the case earlier. We discussed it. It was like someone seizes something.
He becomes a co-owner.
So now he's not a co-owner. He's a creditor, but he seized something because I owe him. He seized it. He took advantage. Right. Now he really you're not supposed to go based in. But if he took it, so now you took it. Now you're like a paid watchman. Why are you like a paid watchman? Because you want to make sure that this animal doesn't go again, this animal doesn't do anything, and therefore you'll get paid. So it's like you're a paid watchman. So if you're a paid watchman, and then the animal gores Alan, Alan's animal, whatever, yeah, Alan's cow, right? So now, remember I owed you $100. You were shomer sacher. You're supposed to watch, make sure the animal isn't gored. Now your animal that you were paid to watch, right? Gores his animal. You owe him $100. Oh, you know what's so convenient? I actually owe you $100. Just take that $100 and go to him. So that's why it goes to him first. That's why the last one goes first. Not because of the last creditor comes first. It's because the guy sees the animal. Now he's a watchman. A watchman is negligent that he allowed the animal to go ahead and gore. He is obligated to pay. His payment is the same. So basically, the last guy gets paid first because he was the one who's damaged.
Because it's negligent. Right.
So Gemara says, "Ihachi yesh b'meiser yachzer." Why does it say if there's extra? Then it goes back to the lishlefanov yachzer lebalim. It should be that it goes back to the owners. That's what I should have said, right? So, so in that case, he says should go back to the owners. So he says, "Amar Ravina." Right, so hafik dani im yesh b'meiser b'nezaka. If there's extra damage, in other words, let's say that the amount they had to pay to Alan was less. If there was extra for the damages, in other words, that he has to pay. Let's say Alan's animal was only $150 animals, and I owed you $100, and his animal was $150 animal. So you have to pay chatzin, right? So you only have to pay him $75. So therefore, in that case, there was Alan only gets $75, and that's what it means. If there's extra to the damages, i.e., there's still $25, then it goes back to then it goes to the guy in front of him, which would be John in this case. Okay, Kiyasa Rabbi number Rabbi Nagubo. So we say in this case, though, because of the so too Rabbi to the name of Rabbi Yechon, because of the negligence of the guy watching it, i.e., the guy who sees that was watching it. That's why he goes ahead and he has to pay. So now, Gemara says, so okay, so who are you saying like? Our mission is like Rabbi Shmuel. Is it like Rabbi Shmuel who says that the people, if someone is gored and therefore he's now a creditor to the other person? So let's look at the sefer. Now remember the sefer. The sefer was right that 100 goes to the last guy, then the people before split it 50-50, then it was split again, then it goes 100, then 50, then 25-25. So Rabbi Shimon Aimer, Shor Sheva Masayim, Shanagach Shor Sheva Masayim. If it gore, that was worth 200 korban, that was worth 200 Bain and Aveli Yafek Klub. And when it's dead, it's a zero. So don't take that into account. Zed Naital Mana Zed Naital Mara. That each one goes down and takes a Mara. Chaz Benagach Shor Achir. Then it went down and gored a second animal, Sheva Masayim, which is worth 200. So Achra Naital Mana. So the last one it was gored, he gets 200. Ushalafanov. So each one gets 50. The original owner, Bob, and the first victim's owner, who is Reuben. Then it goes ahead and gores Levi's animal worth 200. So Levi gets 100. And then Shimon goes ahead and gets 50 zuz. And then Bob and then Reuben gets Dina Zav. Each one gets 25. We did. Yeah, 25, 20. Yeah.
The last one will get 25. They're sharing it.
What's that? But
the first.
No. Well, opposite.
I mean, the last that he gored will get bigger.
He gets the 100. Right.
The last. And
then the other guy, because there was already he gets the same as the owner because they were partners in it. They each get 25. So the Gemara says this whole thing. Asal Rabbi Akiva, Delmar Torah, the Shutahu. This whole svar was made, and that the people become partners in it. That's why they split it. That's why Bob and Reuven each get 25 because they're partners in it. So also Rabbi Akiva, Amar Torah Shutvu. So our answer is Reisha Rabbi Shmuel. The Reisha, the first opinion, Rabbi Meir, he calls like Rabbi Shmuel, which says we're talking about creditors. The Sefer Rabbi Kiva. The Sefer, in this case, Rabbi Shimon has all like Rabbi Kiva. And Amr, they say, so you want to say this? So Reisha Rabbi Shua Sefer Rabbi Kiva. So where it says, yeah. The Amr they Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda, Shmuel said the Yehuda. So Shino, a sharp one, Shavik Masnis and Vata Basrai. Right? Stop trying to figure out the Mishnah to go like a single Tana. Reisha Rabbi Shmuel, the Sefer Rabbi Kiva. The Reisha is like Rabbi Shmuel, and the Sefer is like Rabbi Kiva. And some include this, put it in brackets, and they say, right? That the person's makdish, that'll be the nafkamina. According to one who's shutfin, then a partner could be, if I'm a partner in the animal, then I could be makdish chelek, and therefore it's part from that case from the goring. And the other one says, no, you're only a creditor, and therefore you can't be makdish. So Tanan Hasam. So now a little bit offshoot, aside Gemara from our Mishnah, which is going to take it to the Mishnah on top. So it says, one who goes ahead and he blows a shofar, a horn, a trumpet, something in someone's ear. So he gives him a sela.
What's the damage?
What the damage? He hurt him and he embarrassed him. So he goes ahead and he gives him a sela, which is he gave them for the money of the boshes. In this case, he gave them only the boshes on its own. He doesn't pay for anything else. No permanent damage, but he embarrassed him. Right? Rashi says the Beibosh Levad Sarvanizag Rafoi. He has to pay for it. Now Rabbi Yehuda, remember Shimon Rabbi Yehuda, he says no. He says you pay a mana. You go ahead and no, you got to pay. You have to go ahead and pay 100 zuz. Right? You got to go ahead and pay more. Right? So now what are you talking about here? Oh, Gabra to talk. So my question is how much you have to go ahead and pay for the boshes, for the embarrassment. So Gabra to talk to the Chavre. So Shachar Rav Tuvi Bar Mas in the Kamei said for the Rav Yosef. So it says sell Tsuri Tanan or sell Medina Tanan. Are we talking about excuse me, a sell Tsuri? Now a sell Tsuri is 4 zuz. Oh, sell Medina, which is a half a zuz. All right, one is a half a zuz, and the sell Tsuri is 4 zuz, so it's 8 times the amount. So do I have to pay the large amount or the smaller amount? So we learn. So let's look at our Mishnah, right? Let's look at our Mishnah. So the 2 original get dinar zav. Now each one gets a dinar zav, which is 25 zuz. Now if you may think they can eat, it's a half a zuz. Tani Tana sell a Medina. I should say over there a sell a Medina. Venitza I'd trace over sella. You could say 12 and a sella because a sella is half a zuz. In other words, if we're talking about the smaller denomination, so therefore you can go ahead and even break it down to Kesef Medina because it's smaller amount, it doesn't come in halves. If you're talking about Tatsuri, so we don't want to say 12 and a half, right? 12 and a half is, right, you don't do it. But over here, you would be able to go ahead and say, they say 12 and a sella. So Malay, Tana Kirucha, I understand. Is the one up in the Mishnah like a peddler? You had to go down. There's no Kiddush anymore. Once we know it's 100 and then 50 and then 25, we understand the concept. What would be the purpose of breaking it down one more way? So my Havila, so new, what's the maskana? So Pashtamia, learn from me, Rav Yudah Marav, called Kesef on the Torah. Anytime the Torah says Kesef, the Torah Kesef Suri. That is the more expensive Kesef. V'shel Divrayim, and when something is like Divrayim, let's say for instance, this case of embarrassing, which is Midrabanan. So Kesef Medina. Therefore, it's Kesef Medina is referring to the lower denominations. It's referring to the Kesef Medina. What's always?
So Kesef is always the higher premium.
When it says in Torah, in other words, the owner of the slave, you have to pay him 30 Kesef. So it's referring to Kesef Tsuri, which is the more expensive. Right. So Amar Le'au Gavra Hoil Palga D'Suzehu. Loibina, so someone who I guess was owned, he says, okay, since it's a half a zuz, Loibina, I don't need it. I was told I was embarrassed. I'm only giving half a zuz because there's drabon. It's not 4 zuz, it's a half a zuz. So he says, go ahead and give it to the poor people. And Hadar, then he says he changed his mind. Amar lei, you know what, I'll take it. Azav Yavri Bey, Nafshi, he says, you know what, I'll go ahead and take it for myself. Instead I'll change my mind. So I'm there. Yosef, Kvar Zachu Be'anim. The poor people already, once you said give it to the poor, and even though we didn't physically give it to the poor, once you said that, we acquired it on behalf of the poor people. And Afagav the Lekanim, even though there's no poor people here to make a kinyan. So Anan Yadanim, right? We're unknown, right? Because we are nevertheless the extension hand of poor people. The Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Rav Yehuda, Shmuel, Yisayimim, orphans, Einat Tzrichim Pruzbol. They don't know how to write it. Pruzbol b'chein Tana Rav Berachama, Yisayimim Tzrichim Pruzbol. What does that mean? Because a pruzbol is something that basically, pruzbol is something that is a contract that's written so Shemitah does not cancel the loan. And basically what it is I am giving over my power of collection to Beis Din. And therefore, Shemitah does not cancel a loan that Beis Din has. And therefore, Beis Din can go ahead and collect this loan on their behalf. That's how it works. So an orphan doesn't need a pruzbol. Why? Because it's already, Beis Din is already collecting for them. So you see that Beis Din already has a hand on behalf of the Yisayimim or Anim. And Rav Nachman, Beis Din, and Rav Nachman, Beis Din, they were like the fathers of the Yisayimim, therefore they took care of them. So Chanan Bisha, So Chanan Bisha, he went ahead and he blew a horn in someone's ear, embarrassed him. Asla came to Rav Huna, give him Rav Huna, go ahead and give him half a zuz. So he had a zuz, but it wasn't such a good coin. No one wanted to go ahead and break it, right, to 2 half zuz, right, which he had to go ahead and pay, and he didn't want to give the guy a full zuz, right? Says, boy, the palga, the zuz,
wanted to break it.
because it was a bad coin. In other words, it was a crumpled up, real crumpled up dollar bill, so no one wants to give him, 4 quarters for it, right? Because if it's not a good mint, then it could lose its value. So no one wanted it. So he said, but it was a zuz. So he says, I have an idea. I'll go ahead and embarrass him again. I'll loan him 2 half, and then he can keep the zuz. So that's what he did. And so we'll stop here at the Mishnah. And this way he didn't have to find someone to break it. He just, embarrassed him again. We'll stop at the Mishnah. So Sunday, Mitzvah Shem, 6:45. Everyone have a wonderful Shabbos.